welcome back to my channel. In today's video I have another Among Us tutorial for you guys, and it is how to make the little pet crewmates and the one that sits on top of the crewmate's head. So if you want to learn how to make these, just keep watching. The yarn I'll be using today is a 4-weight yarn by the brand Super Saver in baby pink. I'll also be using some other colors in about the same weight. I used black, gray, and white. I'm also going to be using a 5mm hook. You'll need scissors, a tapestry needle, and some stuffing. So we're going to start by making the legs. You want to make a magic circle and put 3 single crochets into the circle. This pattern is basically just cut in half from the actual Crewmate tutorial I have on my channel, where it's the regular sized one. So for the mini ones I just cut the pattern in half, but the kind of like face thing, the gray part, it's different. So yeah, that's the only difference between the actual Crewmate size and the mini ones. And then once you have your 3 single crochets, you want to pull the tail end to form a circle, and you want to slip stitch your hook into the first single crochet that you made in that round. Now once you have your circle, we're going to start on round 2, which is an increase round. And to start, you want to chain 1, and you're going to put a single crochet in the first stitch, and you're going to add another single crochet in that same stitch, and that is what an increase is. At the end of this row, you want to have 6 single crochets in total. Once you have your 6 single crochets, you're going to slip stitch into the first stitch of that round again, and you're going to do this after every row just so you can know where the row starts and ends. For rounds 3 and 4, you're just going to single crochet in each stitch. So at round 4, you're going to have the stitch count of 6. Once you're done with round 4, you're going to tie off your work and cut off your yarn from your piece, and you want to make another leg, but you don't want to cut off from your yarn because we're going to connect them after. Once you finish the other leg and it's still attached to your yarn, you're going to now connect them. So to connect them, you want to chain 1, and then you're going to insert your hook into any stitch in the other leg, and you want to make a single crochet into that stitch, and that counts as one of these stitches around the legs. So you're just going to make a single crochet like this, and you're going to do 5 more single crochets around the leg to make 6. So I'll see you back when you have that. Once you reach this, you're going to do another chain 1 and you're going to single crochet into the closest stitch near the chain, and you're going to single crochet around here until the end of the row. So now that you're done with this, you should have 14 single crochets all together, including the 2 chains that we did. Now to remember where we end the row, you're going to put a slip stitch into that chain, the first one that we just did. Now we're going to work on the body portion. Now to begin the body portion, you're going to do a chain 1 and make sure you put a single crochet underneath that chain that we slip stitch into. So you're going to put a single crochet in each stitch around, having 14 single crochets in total. If for some reason you have less chains, you can just add another one at the end of the row, because you want to make sure that you have 14 stitches around. Once you reach the back with the chain, you want to make sure you put a single crochet in there, because that counts as a stitch. Once you finish that row, you want to slip stitch into the first stitch to end the row, and that counts as one of your rows for the body portion. You want to have 5 rows in total, and a way to keep track of what row you're on is to turn your work to the back and count that middle. So as you can see, we have 1 row done, and I'll show you how you count your rows at the end. You just want to put 1 single crochet in each stitch around for the next 4 rows. So I'll see you back when you have your 5 rows. Once you're all finished with your other 4 rows, you can turn your work to the back and see that there's 5. You can count 1 over here, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we're going to start on decreasing, and we only have 1 or 2 rows of decreasing, and it's pretty simple. So you're going to chain 1 and you're going to single crochet in the first stitch, and then we're going to put a decrease. And a decrease, you basically put your hook through the stitch and pull through and have 2, and you're going to directly go into the next stitch, pull through and have 3 loops on your hook, and you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. And you want to do that all the way around. You're going to do a single crochet and then a decrease. Once you finish that row, you're just going to stuff your piece and make sure you want to pull up a little bit of that stitch that you have your hook on, just so it doesn't unravel, and you want to stuff your piece. Once you finish stuffing your piece, you want to put your hook back on through the stitch to do the last decrease row, and you're going to chain 1 and you're going to put a decrease in each stitch. So basically you're going to decrease all the way around until you have no more stitches to decrease, and you want to cut off a long tail to sew the top closed. Now you're going to use your tapestry needle, and we're going to do a whip stitch around the top of the crewmate just to close off your work. You want to do this from going through the inside of the stitch to the outside, the outermost loop of the stitch, like this, and then you're just going to pull it all together to close it off. We're done with the top, but make sure do not cut off your yarn yet, because you want to stick your needle back in through the project through the bottom between the legs to sew it closed. Just make sure that you're not pulling or tugging too hard, because it's going to pull on the top and kind of squish your crewmate down. So make sure you don't want to pull the stitches too tight, just pull it tight enough so that it's secured. Once you're done with that, stick your needle back through the project and up at the top, and then cut off your yarn. Now that we're done with the body portion, we're going to work on the backpack. To start the backpack, you want to make a slip knot and chain 4. Then once you have 4, you're going to make a single crochet in the second chain from the hook and down the rest of the row, leaving you with 3 single crochets. Then on this last stitch, we're going to add 2 more single crochets so that I can turn to the other side. Then you're going to single crochet in that next loop, and then on the last loop you're going to put 2 single crochets. Then from here you're going to slip stitch into that first single crochet. So So now that you have this, you're going to chain 1 and put a single crochet in each stitch around. Also, you don't have to make the backpack if you're going to be making the one sitting on top of the head of the crewmate. It depends, but I actually did it for mine, and I don't really know if they have it in the game, so it's up to you if you want to make the backpack. Once you're finished with that row of single crochets, you're going to add 2 more rows of just single crocheting in each stitch. Once you have your rows all done, you want to stuff the backpack just a little bit because you don't want it to be too bulky on the small little crewmate. And once you're done with that, you can tie off your yarn and cut off a tail for sewing. Now we're going to close off the backpack, and you're just going to stick your needle through the outermost stitch, like a shoelace kind of. It's called a whip stitch, and you're just going to sew it closed. And then once you've went in through all these stitches, you just want to pull it to close. Now we're going to sew it onto one side of the crewmate. You're just going to poke your needle back into the backpack from this edge here just so we can sew it better. So you're just going to place it on the middle part of one side of the body, and you're just going to sew it on. And once you're done sewing that on, you can just poke your needle back into the piece and come out from anywhere on the body and cut off your yarn from there. Then once you're done with that, we just have to make the face. So to make the face, you're going to start with your gray yarn, and you're going to make a magic circle and put 3 single crochets in that circle. Then you're going to slip stitch into that first stitch that you made, and then you're going to do a chain 1. Then for this next round, you're going to add 2 single crochets in each stitch. Once you finish this round, you're going to slip stitch into the first chain you made and chain 1. Then for the next round, you're going to single crochet in the first stitch and add 2 single crochets into the next stitch. You're going to repeat this pattern all the way around. Now once you're done with that row, do not slip stitch into the first stitch. You're going to color change to black, and when you color change to black, you're going to use that yarn to slip stitch into the first chain of that row. Now working with the black yarn, you're going to chain 1 and you're going to put a single crochet in each stitch around. And once you're done with that round, you're going to slip stitch into the first stitch, tie it off, and cut off a long tail for sewing, and then you want to sew it onto the other half of the body. Now before you sew the face fully closed on the crewmate, you want to make sure to stuff it just a little bit to make it puff out. And then once you're done with that, you can just sew closed, poke out from the anywhere inside the body, and cut off the yarn from there. Your little crewmate should be done by now, and the last thing we need to do is add the shine. So you're going to take your white yarn and just add a little stripe across the upper right side of the face. So I kind of messed up on mine over here, like I didn't make it go on top of each other, but I know you guys can make yours look better. But after you've done that, you can just weave in your ends back into the piece like this, and then your crewmate will be done. Now I'm going to show you how to make the sitting one, and it's actually really easy. So to make the one sitting on top of the crewmate's head, you're just going to sew the legs like this. That's really all there is to it. So you're just going to make another one of the crewmates like the one that I just showed you. And you're going to take a piece of yarn for sewing, and you're going to sew your needle through the top side right here of the Crewmate, and then you're going to poke it out from the bottom of, I don't know, like this area right here, like underneath the face part, right at the top middle of the one leg. And then you're going to put your needle into like one stitch below that, like right over here. You're going to go from the back and out from the side, and then you're going to put your needle back into the hole that you put the needle first through. It's so hard to explain, which is why this pattern is so bizarre. I was just like, how I came up with this was like, how can I make the legs pop up like it's sitting? Why don't I just sew it like this? Look at it, it's sitting now. So that's basically what I did. You're just going to pull at the top from the head so that the leg pops up. Now you don't want to pull too hard because it will like scrunch up your little crewmate. I think I pulled mine too hard, but that's okay. You're going to do that with the same leg. You're just going to poke through the middle of the leg at the top, and then you're going to poke through here, and then you're going to poke back into that hole that you just started on, and then poke all the way up to the top. Now it's really hard to explain because I don't even know what this technique is, but it works. So if you have any questions on it, I'll try to answer them in the comments. But yeah, you're just basically gonna do this, and it's now sitting. Once you're done with that, you can just cut off the yarn, and it looks so cute because the little legs are just sitting. Oh my gosh, I can't take it. Now we're just going to sew it onto here. You don't have to do this. I just sewed it on to show you guys how it looks like, but I left it sitting on its own because I don't know, it's just too cute to be attached. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and found it easy to follow through. If you want any more Among Us tutorials, you can check out my channel or the link in the description for the other tutorials on how to make other characters from Among Us. Make sure to subscribe for more crochet content every week with your post notifications on to get notified every time I post. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!